Imagine an AI agent, not just, following instructions, but truly understanding and planning complex tasks in the real world, much like we do.
Right.
What if AI could internally simulate outcomes, reason through multiple steps, and sort of evaluate possibilities before it even acted?
That's the goal, isn't it? A really compelling vision.
Welcome to AI Peer Review, where we distill cutting-edge research into actionable insights for you. Today, we're diving deep into an interesting paper from Metafair, Planning with Reasoning Using Vision Language World Model, or VLWM for short.
Yep, VLWM. It's quite a step forward.
It proposes a foundational model that significantly advances how AI agents can perform high-level task planning. Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack how VLWM bridges that gap between raw sensory data, like video, and abstract, human understandable reasoning.
Offering a kind of shortcut to more robust and adaptable AI agents.
Exactly, and you'll discover how they've achieved state-of-the-art performance by leveraging, interestingly, natural language as the core of their world model.
That's the really innovative part, I think.
Yeah, this approach makes the AI's internal understanding not only computationally efficient, which is huge, but also incredibly intuitive and interpretable for us humans. So let's unpack this a bit. Why has truly high-level, complex planning been such a persistent challenge for AI? What's the fundamental hurdle this research is trying to overcome?
It's a great question, and it really gets to the heart of why this is hard. You see, while today's world models, they're pretty good at continuous low-level tasks.
Like robotics control or driving.
Exactly. Predicting fine-grained movements, short horizons. But they really hit a wall when it comes to semantic and temporal abstraction.
Meaning?
Meaning planning for high-level goals.
Yeah.
Things like cook dinner or assemble furniture. Tasks that involve understanding meaning, context, and sequencing actions over, longer periods.
Okay.
And current methods, they all have limitations. LLMs, for instance, can generate text plans, sure, but they lack grounding. They don't see the world.
No sensory input, right.
Right. Then you have VLMs, vision language models. They fuse vision and language, but they're mostly for perception, understanding what's in an image, not predicting how the world changes based on actions and simulations. They help, but they just don't scale well to the sheer diversity and messiness of real-world activities.
Right.
And critically, many world models trying to learn from video attempt to predict future observations by generating raw pixels.
Which sounds computationally expensive.
Incredibly.
Yeah.
It's super inefficient because it captures tons of task-irrelevant detail. Think about predicting every leaf rustling when you just need to know if the door opened.
Yeah, makes sense.
It makes long-term planning computationally prohibitive. And the problem is often ill-posed, ambiguous, because you only see part of the world, leading to unstable predictions.
So for you, our listener, this kind of explains why your smart assistant might give you a recipe perfectly. But if you ask it to actually plan the whole cooking process, start to finish, it might just fall apart. It struggles with the why and how of abstract steps.
Gets bogged down in those low-level details instead of the bigger picture.
Okay, so this brings us right to VLWM's core insight. If raw pixels are inefficient, and LLMs lack that grounding, how does this paper propose to solve it? They say language is significantly more computationally efficient. What's the trick?
Well, the central concept is actually pretty elegant. VLWM perceives visual observations, okay? It sees the video.
Right.
But it models how the world evolves using language-based abstraction.
Language-based abstraction, okay.
Think of it like this. An action like preheat the skillet. Internally, the AI doesn't just track pixel changes, it translates this into a language-based world state explanation. Something like, this action prepares the skillet for cooking by increasing its temperature. It captures the meaning and consequence.
Ah, okay, so it connects the action to its purpose in language.
Precisely. And this approach has some major benefits. Language is inherently intuitive for us, right? It's interpretable.
Definitely.
And it plugs right into the existing LLM and VLM ecosystems, unlike those opaque latent embeddings.
The black boxes inside the AI.
Exactly. Language gives you an explicit, clear understanding of the world state. It shifts the AI from just knowing what happened to why it matters for the task.
That's a big deal.
It is. And what's really novel here is the focus on direct world modeling from massive, uncurated, reward-free offline videos. That's a different goal than standard perception or behavior cloning.
Okay, that is a huge shift. But practically speaking, turning raw video, hours of it, into a structured language plan. That sounds incredibly complex. How do they actually pull that off?
It is complex, yeah. They use a clever two-stage strategy. Stage one is about tackling what they call the impossible triangle, efficiently handling high resolution, long time spans, and large models all at once.
Okay.
They compress the raw videos into a hierarchical tree of captions. First, they extract video features using a perception encoder.
Like PEG-14 mentioned in the paper.
Right. Then they segment these feature streams using hierarchical agglomerative clustering. It's a method that automatically groups similar video moments together, creating semantically coherent segments in a kind of tree structure.
So grouping related bits of action together automatically.
Exactly. And then detailed captions for these segments are generated by a spiralized model, Perception LM3B.
And this compression is significant.
Hugely. They mentioned compressing like 1.1 terabytes of Ego4D video down to less than 900 megabytes of captions,
Wow.
while keeping the essential semantic meaning. That's key.
Okay, so stage one is compress video to caption segments. What's stage two?
Stage two is extracting structured plans from that tree of captions. They use an iterative process called LLM self-refine.
Self-refine. So the LLM improves its own output.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
The goal is to turn those sort of raw-ish captions into a really structured textual representation that VLWN can learn to predict. It extracts four key things. First, a goal description. High level, like cooked tomato and eggs. Second, a goal interpretation. This explains the initial state and the expected final state, crucial for evaluating success later.
Ah, okay. Defines what done looks like.
Right. Third, action descriptions. Clear, concise steps like preheat the skillet on the stove. And finally, and this is really important, world states. These are detailed internal descriptions of the consequences of each action. They act as an information bottleneck.
Forcing the model to focus on what really changes.
Exactly. Filtering out the noise, keeping only the essential state changes relevant to the plan. The LLM iteratively drafts these components, critiques its own draft, and revises it to meet strict requirements like removing fluff or adding detail about state changes.
Okay, so they've built this pipeline to generate rich, structured language data from video. How does VLWM learn from this data to model the world and generate plans?
So the training objective is pretty clear. VLWM is trained to predict the whole sequence. The goal, the interpretation, and the trajectory of action state pairs, action day state, given some initial visual and text context.
So it learns to predict the whole plan structure.
Yep. It covers three levels: inferring the goal from context, anticipating the likely actions, and predicting how the world state changes because of an action. This setup allows for what they call System 1 reactive planning. It's basically autoregressive text completion.
Like how GPT works. Predict the next word.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
It generates an action, then predicts the resulting world state description in language, then the next action, and so on. Those predicted world state descriptions, they function like the AI's internal chain of thought.
Explaining its own reasoning as it goes.
Exactly. Articulating the consequences and guiding the next step. It's fast, efficient for quick plan generation.
And the scale of training data.
Massive. We're talking 180,000 videos from datasets like How to 100 Emma, Ego4D, Epic Kitchens, generating something like 2.7 trillion words of captions and over 1 million goal plan trajectories.
That's a lot of data. But okay, this reactive system 1 planning, it has limits, right? You mentioned error accumulation. What if the first plan it generates isn't actually the best one, or something unexpected happens?
Precisely. Reactive planning lacks foresight. Once it predicts an action, it's locked in. That's fine for simple things, but for long, complex tasks, errors can build up.
So the paper introduces System 2 reflective planning and this critic module. What's the fundamental difference? Why is that so powerful?
This is where the real reasoning comes in. System 1 is fast, reactive. System 2 is reflective, deliberative. Instead of just generating one plan, VLWM, under System 2, generates multiple candidate action sequences. Think of them as different possible paths or rollouts.
Okay, explores options.
Exactly. Then it uses its own world model, the language-based one, to simulate the future states for each of those candidate plans.
So it predicts the outcome of each potential plan.
Right. And then this dedicated critic module steps in. Its job is to evaluate the cost of each simulated plan. Cost here basically means how far the predicted final state is from the desired goal state, semantically.
How well does it achieve the goal?
Pretty much. The agent then selects the plan that the critic estimates will minimize this cost. It picks the best path based on simulated outcomes and critical evaluation.
That sounds much more like how humans plan. We weigh options.
It's definitely closer. It's internal trial and error optimization. It's a form of reasoning.
And how does this critic learn to judge plans? Does it need humans to label good and bad plans?
That's the cool part. No, not directly. It's trained self-supervisedly. The critic, which they initialize from a smaller model, Llama 3.21b, learns in a couple of ways. First, it learns to tell valid progress apart from noise. It's trained to assign lower costs to steps that actually advance the plan towards the goal, and higher costs to irrelevant or misleading distractor steps they inject during training.
Okay, learning relevance.
Second, it learns about procedural order. It's trained to assign higher costs to trajectories where the steps are randomly shuffled compared to the correct sequence.
So it learns that doing things in the right order matters.
Exactly. It uses a specific ranking loss function to enforce these constraints, like cost good, cost base, cost bad. And they further enhance its ability to generalize by using preference tuning and other semantic similarity datasets.
Okay, so this system two with the critic, it sounds less like just following steps and much more like an internal thought process. Evaluating possibilities, choosing the best path.
That's a good way to put it.
For you, the listener, this is a huge step. It moves towards AI assistants that aren't just reactive, but genuinely robust and adaptive when faced with complexity. All right, so all this sophisticated modeling, the two systems, the critic, does it actually work? Does it translate to better performance in practice? What did the evaluations show?
Yeah, the results are really quite compelling. They tested it across several benchmarks. On the Visual Planning for Assistance benchmarks, VPA VLW M8B achieved new state-of-the-art results on Koyaan and cross-task datasets. These tasks involve predicting high-level steps in procedural videos.
State-of-the-art. By how much?
Pretty significant gains. Over 3% absolute improvement in success rate, nearly 4% in mean accuracy, and almost 3 points in mean IOU. And what's really interesting, this 8 billion parameter VLWM model outperformed baselines like VidAssist, which uses a much, much larger 70 billion parameter LLM.
Wow, so smaller model, better results. That points to the efficiency of the approach.
It really does. Then there's the Planarena human evaluation.
Planarena, what's that?
So they recognize that standard benchmarks often rely on ground truth plans that might actually be flawed or biased.
Right, the human-provided correct answer isn't always perfect.
Exactly. So they created Planarena. It's an evaluation system based on ELO ratings, like in chess, but for AI plans. Humans compare plans generated by different models side by side and vote for the better one.
Okay, direct human preference testing. What did that show?
VLWM System 2, the reflective one with the critic, achieved the highest ELO score by a large margin. It got 1261. The next best, Llama 4 Maverick, was way back at 1099.
That's a big difference.
It is. And interestingly, even the simpler VLWM System 1, the reactive one, often outperformed the static ground truth plans from the datasets in terms of human preference.
So humans preferred the AI's plans even over the supposed correct answers sometimes.
Yeah, especially on Koyaan and crosstask. It really highlights that maybe the existing ground truth data isn't as golden as we thought for complex procedural planning.
That's a crucial takeaway for you listening. Human preference confirms these VLWM System 2 plans are genuinely better, more useful.
Definitely. They also tested it on RoboVQA. That's a benchmark for grounded reasoning in robotics visual question answering.
So more towards physical interaction.
Yeah, testing if it can answer questions that require understanding actions and object states in a robotics context. VLWM-8B scored really well, outperforming specialized robotic LLMs like RoboBrain 7B on the BLEU1 score.
BLEU scores. That's a language metric, right?
Right. Measures similarity to reference answers. Getting a 74.2 BLEU1 shows it can generate relevant, accurate, language-based answers for embodied scenarios. Demonstrates good generalization.
Okay, and what about the critic itself? Did they evaluate how well it judges plans?
They did. For goal achievement detection, basically.
Yeah.
Telling if the plan actually reached the goal, the VLWM critic achieved nearly 97% accuracy overall.
97%. That's very high.
Way better than standard semantic similarity models, which were down in the 60–70% range. Ablation studies showed that the goal interpretations and the world state descriptions were crucial for this, especially on unseen data.
So the structured language components really matter.
Absolutely. And on another task, World Prediction PP, a procedural planning benchmark, the critics set a new state-of-the-art accuracy in a zero-shot setting. Shows a good balance of model size and performance.
These results really do paint a picture of an AI that's capable of much more nuanced planning and self-assessment. For you, our listener, this means we're looking at a future where AI assistants could handle complex, real-world tasks much more effectively. They can plan better and even evaluate their own plans internally. So let's zoom out. What does this all mean for the next wave of AI innovation? What are the big implications here for you, our technically savvy listeners?
I think it represents a really significant step towards more general-purpose AI agents. VLWM shows you can learn world dynamics effectively from large-scale, messy, natural videos.
Without needing perfect labels or rewards.
Right, and crucially represent those dynamics in an abstract language space. It bridges perception, reasoning, and planning in a very interesting way.
And it moves beyond simple imitation.
Definitely. It pushes AI assistants beyond just behavior cloning, which is mostly System 1, towards these reflective agents. System 2 that can do internal trial and error, reason about outcomes, and make more robust decisions over longer horizons.
Plus the benefits of the language approach itself.
Yeah, the interpretability and the computational efficiency are huge advantages over trying to predict raw pixels. It makes the AI's thinking more transparent.
And they're open sourcing it.
That's the plan. The models and data are intended to be open sourced, which should really spur more research and development in the community.
So consider the implications here. Think about advanced robotics. Maybe AI-powered wearable assistants that can truly understand context, or much more sophisticated task automation.
Imagine a robot in a factory or a home that doesn't just follow preset commands, but can actually plan how to recover from an unexpected error or adapt a task to new tools.
Yeah, it really moves us closer to AI agents that can genuinely understand and reason about the world in a way that's both powerful and, importantly, transparent. That was a truly insightful deep dive into the vision language world model. Really fascinating to see how this thoughtful approach using language as the core is unlocking so much potential for AI reasoning and planning.
It really is.
Yeah.
By learning directly from vast amounts of real-world video and then abstracting that messy reality into structured language, VLWM is setting, I think, a new standard for how AI can tackle complex tasks intelligently.
So maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over.
As these VLWMs continue to get better, think about how much our own human planning relies on internal language, on that inner monologue where we simulate outcomes and talk ourselves through steps.
Right.
Does this research suggest that the closer AI gets to mirroring that kind of linguistic internal reasoning, the more genuinely intelligent and adaptable its actions will become out there in the real world?
A provocative thought indeed. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and join us next time on AI Peer Review.